And how are you fine lot doing today? This is Temierus here, and I have this little game for a buck called PLAYERUNKN1WN Friendly Fire. If that name sounds familiar, we did a while ago play a game that had the name PLAYERUNKN1WN Friendly Fire. That sound is still very annoying in my headphones, so I'm going to turn them down. I'm looking at my recording software here, and it's just peaking. It's actually pretty freaking ridiculous to see what that thing's doing. So anyway, if that didn't get the point across, this voice you're hearing right now is recorded after the fact of recording. Because for some reason, my OBS has decided that on occasion, it'll see my microphone, recognize my microphone, acknowledge the microphone's existence, but won't pick up any audio on it. And it doesn't really communicate that fact to me, so I didn't find out until after I recorded and put the video into my recording folder, because I move it off of my solid state to my regular drive, and then put it into the editing software I use, which is the Sony Vegas, in case you're curious. Some people might be, other people probably don't give a shit. But I put it in Sony Vegas, and my voice track was just a solid line of nothing. And then I went back and looked at my OBS and realized all the noise I was making around my microphone wasn't being picked up at all. Microsoft, the Windows operating system, that was picking it up. OBS wasn't. So anyway, what happened with this game here is, as I'm sure we can tell by all the achievement spamming that's happening in the bottom right corner, in hindsight, doing this for the video is probably not at all entertaining, because this is just another one of those only slightly functioning games, I guess? Question mark? It's kind of bad that I have to sit there and question whether it's actually called a game or not. But it's one of those achievement spam, achievement hunter games. Actually, achievement hunter might just be a specific brand name, not actually the genre, so to speak. So, yeah, and the game's called PLAYERUNKN1WN Friendly Fire. But when you boot it up, the file extension itself is called, what was it, CBMK or CGMK? It's something like that. Some weird thing. It's like CGBK demo.exe. So it led me to believe that they probably went on the Unity asset store, found a pre-made demo game where it's probably you have to go and, take a game, modify it yourself to make it an actual game to be played, because that's what you're supposed to do if you use a pre-bought asset. Because again, there's nothing wrong with a pre-bought asset. Just because you have a pre-bought asset in your game doesn't make it inherently bad. It's just when you use the pre-bought asset, you need to make it appear that it's not a pre-bought asset, or when your player looks at it, their first thought is, oh, that's a pre-bought asset. Their first thought is, that's just another part of the game. Like, you just want that they don't even think about it at any point. The problem is with games like these is you, of course, think about it. Again, when you also play the game for, oh god damn, 15 minutes. And you just need to figure out something to think about or entertain yourself before your brain turns into a goo, a fine goo, and can no longer process thoughts. Right there was the level transition, and I thought it was bullshit that it just had these larvae just lunge at you, because I guess the enemies are larvae. The description of the game says they're beetles. Any beetle I've ever seen. Maybe there is a beetle that looks like that. I'm not actually gonna bother looking it up, because I'd be giving this game way more attention than it deserved. So, I mean, I could end the video here because I basically said everything that needs to be said with this video, plus some bullshit, just to make it a little bit more content, basically. Which I feel like had more content than this game really set out to have. So I'm just going to talk about the rant that was lost inside of the video, just because I'm going to try and push the video out to be a little bit longer, because, well, there's a watch time analytic on YouTube. I gotta pump that number, right? Right? Anyway, so lately, the group of guys, we've been playing Savage Worlds as opposed to our D&D or Pathfinder, and it's been a pretty entertaining system. I'm actually really enjoying it. Maybe one of these days will encourage people being able to go out and check out my buddy Ken that runs a bunch of 7th Sea stuff, which I played one game of 7th Sea with him, and I had a fun time with that. But we have right now Game Turtle on this channel here, who may be showing up again later soon. He was gonna do a new Savage Worlds game. Oh, right here, new game content. Just a quick interrupt. See, we got a gun, and now it does a scatter shot. That's about the most eventful thing that happens in this damn game. But he's doing a new campaign in Savage Worlds where it's a time travel campaign. If you've watched the CW's DC shows, think Legends of Tomorrow is basically what's happening. Legends of Tomorrow, maybe a little bit of Doctor Who elements thrown in, even though Legends really started off by being its own version of a Doctor Who. At least that was my first comment when I watched the first episode of that. Is that I have completely forgotten the character's name. The dude that actually has the time travel shit that was going off with collecting people, that guy. He just made me think of like, oh, this is an American version of a Doctor Who. Okay. Excuse me there, I had to take a drink of my water. Because I'm becoming parched. But, so we're going to have this time travel campaign. Everybody's making different characters. They're being plucked from different eras and time periods. Because there's one guy that's going around who's doing what was just, the description seems to me, and what I've told Game Turtle about, is that it sounds like it is a Doctor Who companion recruitment scene with the asshole dickishness of Constantine thrown in. Oh yeah, we get a knife there, and it shoots the little explosions there. Those are the only 3 weapons I found in the game. And so we have one guy's making a character that's going to be from Imperial Rome. Yeah, Imperial Rome. 2 of them are going to be from the future timeline that we're going to be utilizing, and one of them is an energy absorption throwing back guy. What the other guy was, because I think he was in the predicament I was for a bit of just coming up with character ideas, but rather than ever actually fleshing out a character, just another character idea would pop in their head, and just becomes an endless cycle of getting nothing accomplished, which is a recurring theme in my life. But I decided, like, a character concept that I finally ended up settling on was being an American colonist living in Concord, and right at the timeline when that whole Revolutionary War started, just a little thing that happened, and so the shot heard around the world because nobody actually knows who fired that shot, and we'll probably never know unless we time travel, and then maybe lead into a time travel paradox where we go back in time to see who fired that shot, but then the shot never actually does get fired, so because the shot needs to be fired, the time traveler ends up just shooting off like a starting pistol, which then sets off the whole event and starting off that whole war as an actual war. And then that just leads into the paradox of people get mad and say, oh, you messed with the timeline, but it's like, but if I didn't do that, then the timeline would be different, and you know, it's kind of like that grandfather paradox. So the character that I'm thinking up, he's living in that area at that same timeline. Like, he would not have been an actual receiver of the message that Samuel Prescott brought to Concord, because it was Samuel Prescott, not Paul Revere. He didn't make it to Concord. Only Prescott did. But Prescott would have delivered the message to get the Minutemen ready because the British were coming. And he would have heard it, but he's not part of the Minutemen, so he didn't go and get ready. He went out to do his fur trapping, which is his lifestyle. Go out and hunt something, I don't know, maybe a deer or a beaver. I'll figure it out when I do more research on what you'd be hunting at that time. And so when the Minutemen, the British, are finally squaring off to each other, the shot heard around the world is going to be this guy who's in the woods nearby shooting at something because he's hunting. May even be a turkey for all I know. I remember I did that in middle school where we were supposed to draw some little comic about the Revolutionary War, and I did one where it was that exact scenario where it was everybody squaring off of each other, and in the background I had two guys that were hunting a turkey, and that was the shot that everybody heard that made everybody go into a panic and just start, shooting at each other. Just because there's a part of me that feels like that would be so fitting that the actual conflict, like the shooting and killing of each other part of this whole debacle, would have been started by something completely unrelated to it. I just enjoy that idea. But anyway, so how it's going to be like a DC Legends of Tomorrow kind of deal. So you're going to have people that are, superpowered, because superpowers companions, so people are going to be superheroes and all that. But I've never necessarily been one of a big fan of superheroes necessarily. So I decided that I'm going to take it and everything that I put on the guy, it's probably going to end up being where there's going to be a shit ton of skill bonus. It's going to be a skill monkey like there's no tomorrow. Because the character has absolutely no knowledge that he has any kind of superpowers, if he actually has them at all. I still haven't quite 100% locked in on it. And it's just going to be that he's just lucky. Now, he doesn't sap luck away from people, he doesn't control probability or anything like that. He's just lucky. So, like, if we're on some alien spaceship and it's going to be somebody needs to figure out how to work, like, the transmitter on there to get help, he's gonna go over because I'm gonna have, like, a freaking D12 plus 5 skill in this skill that I've never used before. So, odds are I'm gonna pass the skill test. But rather than it be going up to him being, oh no, I got this, you just do this wire, and you take this, and you bypass this, and convert this. No, it's gonna be, orange button. It worked! At the same time, we're gonna be running around, and he's going to still have his preferred weapon, his Kentucky long rifle. And it's going to be accurate, so I'm going to have like the accuracy combat edges that are in the game, just to represent that he's shooting and he has an idea of how he's supposed to shoot, because he's lived with firearms for a while. He does understand how to operate it. If he was just completely normal, he would be all right with it. But he's going to be more accurate than that weapon has any business being accurate, just because he's lucky. And I'll even have the reload sped up because he's lucky enough, he's just used to. He doesn't even need to pack his ball down the barrel. He can just drop it in. It'll just drop in, but it'll be just tight enough that it's not really going to fall out. I know that doesn't make sense, but there's going to be people flying around and absorbing kinetic energy and throwing it back in blast. Give me this. Give me this little leeway, okay? So, I'm excited to be just a normal dude from the 1770s in America that's just basically bullshitting his way through everything. So, that's the exciting stuff I had to talk about, to try and create a video with content in it. I even did have the original plan if I was going to go on, we were going to look at the Steam reviews, because this game, I didn't realize it was an Achievement Hunter game when I got it. I thought it was maybe a cheapo little game, and then it was going to be, we're going to look at it, and maybe there was some effort put in this game, maybe there wasn't. Who knows? They used the name recognition, so let's see if they were putting in effort or just taking the piss. Turns out they were just taking the piss. And what was confusing was that on Steam it had a mixed reviews and said 54% of the reviews, 54% were positive. And I was going to go look at the reviews and we're going to see why it's saying it was positive. Actually, you know what? So here's some positive Steam reviews for this game that I'm still trying to figure out why it has positive reviews in the first place. These are just the first 4 that I saw on there that were positive. So this one says, best game EU. I mean, well, shit, man. This is like the best game in the European Union right there. I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand it, because clearly it's the best game in the EU. Now, this is the one that I needed to see before. Easy achievements percent. Early access. God damn, this was an early access game too? Shit. I guess at least they got it for free. Here's another one that would have pointed out pretty good. Free achievements XD, which I believe the kids these days use that as some form of facial expression. I don't know what the facial expression is, but it's one. And right here, 11 out of 10 from IGN. Why did only 2 people find that helpful? I thought IGN was a well-respected review site. In case you're curious, yes, I am well aware that these are just joke reviews.